Good morning to those that are just arrived. I have to present Minera San Jorge project. It is a copper area of north of Mendoza. That's why we have included in this presentation 4 axes of development to make the development and finally transform it into a mine. These are 4 essential pillars, not only for this project, but for mining projects that should be developed in this new stage of Argentinian mining: local development, economic growth of the nearby communities, social responsibility. That is an integral part that any geologist, any lawyer, any mining engineer has clear in his or her mind. And clearly the environmental commitment that is taking a priority position in mining industry. San Jorge is located, as I said before, in the northern part of Mendoza, in Las Heras department, very close to Uspallata community. It is within the same district. This is Mendoza River that runs from east to west and takes a direction to the south. This is the northern limit, and the project is 147 kilometers from Mendoza and 73 kilometers from Barrial. This is the basin. The project is located in that location. I'm going to talk about water and the basin because it has been said that in Mendoza there is a restrictive law against mining to stop the development. And water for Mendoza and for San Juan is a very important issue. In Mendoza even more, because there is a special article in this provincial law that says that within the evaluation process of the environmental impact reports, the municipalities that could be affected by the basin have a say too. Being a closed basin, it is just in one department, but if the basin affected the Mendoza River, the effect impacts 18 or more departments, and you know that. You are in mining. You know that there is always a risk for pollution. And some municipalities of those 18 clearly want to stop mining development that are in this zone. Another important subject is location within the surface, location in the surface. The Aguaraz land is property of San Jorge, and the area of impact of the project is not more than this: 2,500 hectares within a land that has more than 20,000 hectares. And that's a project that has extra benefits. It has extra benefits in a situation where it does not affect the surface rights. The only permanent water flow is El Tigre stream. It is a stream that is not used, with no use at all. For many years hasn't been used and does not affect irrigation rights. There is an aquifer below that also is not used. There's no use for any activity at all. The company that controls the project is San Jorge Mining S.A. is a subsidiary of Coro Mining, and the Canadian company that trades in Toronto Stock Exchange. The byproduct of this mine is gold. Part of the restriction of the grade is prohibition of cyanide, mercury, and sulfuric acid in any mining process. This project develops the sulfides of the deposit, so it's not going to use any of these substances. The initial investment is $277 million and a production of 40,000 tons of copper and 40,000 ounces of gold. The project, as you saw, is in a zone. It's located in a zone with no inhabitants, requires a 132 kV electric line that will be built by San Jorge Mining Company, and also as a responsibility, as social responsibility, we have chosen a layout that is not the cheapest, but we provide energy to the community too. The process is open pit mining. The plant will be a conventional flotation process, and estimate construction time 24 months, and the life is 16 years. The water, well, water gives us the possibility to practice, and in fact to practice social responsibility, business social responsibility, and the project is absolutely within the basin of Alhuaraz, and that basin, and it's going to use only surface water, only the stream, not the aquifer, and that stream is anyway estimated by the irrigation department as a stream that does not contribute, is not a tributary to the Mendoza River, so it does not affect those potential 1 million people. The Alhuaraz is an endorheic basin. The rights for use of water are exclusive of the owner, that is San Jorge. And El Tigre stream has no use. We have always said that to give a value added to that water that today is not in use. This is a very brief schematic of the hydrographic situation of the zone. The only permanent stream is this, as I said. This is the Alhuaraz basin, and the project is located at this point. The consumption is 141 liters per second, and with that we have done what all the companies do, teaching. We have had to move it to the local idiosyncrasy. This is a winery province, and we have demonstrated, always comparing, that this is the same amount of water that a wine project uses, 140 hectares irrigated by drip irrigation. In Mendoza there are 400,000 hectares of vines, then they are irrigated by furrows, and they irrigate only 70 hectares. That's equivalent water. So the studies made confirm that surface water is enough, and necessary water is enough for the project. In this case, the project will not have a tailing dam, but thickened paste deposit, and that is optimum for the zone and very good for the environment, especially because in this zone there is 10 times more evapotranspiration than rainfall. So it's going to be 20 centimeters layers of tailings, total heights of 25 meters, decreasing the visual impact for the zone. The infiltration of the water of tailings will not go beyond the 10 meters, and by capillary action it goes back, and the aquifer is much deeper. Besides that, the water of the tailings complies with all the dumping parameters of waters or fluids that are dumped in nature. So even if they touch the aquifer, they are adequate to do it. In the zoning plan, we see the separation with a structural zone and the basins that go to the south. In one plant, this is the open pit. That's the open pit, different dams for oxides and low-grade ore and the waste, and a thickened tailing dam that is wider, not so high, but wider, because the technology obliges us to put it very wide to decrease the height and to have a faster drying of the paste. Talking again about this very important characteristic of the project, we see that it's 150 million tons. And this technology also allows to recycle a high percentage of water of the process. We know that gives a lower impact in the water we are going to use from the stream, and we don't need to use water from the aquifer. the pollution is controlled by different barriers. The water quality of the tailings, as I said before, complies with all the standards, even if we dumped it to a receiving body. But infiltrations will never reach the aquifer. The water layers are very far from that infiltration could arrive. And as you well know, there will be a series of wells monitoring and control that we are developing to study the behavior of the aquifer. Not happy with that. And of course, we are working with people from the beginning in the mine closing plan. And it's considered that the paste deposit after finishing the mining activity will be restored and will be recovered, reclaimed, and revegetated. And talking about the conservation of flora and fauna of the place, this is a zone that has no greater danger, no greater threats for the life. And we are thinking in creating and working jointly with the state and the community to propose a natural reserve of flora and fauna in that zone. More to the north, there is a national park, the Leoncito Park, and the idea is to have an access with a flora and fauna reserve and to continue that park. And the permit has not been achieved yet, but we are already working on non-mining businesses that could be done within that land to give sustainability to the project, work to the community, and that could be developed independently from the life of the mine. We give priority to those projects that can live longer than the mine. The idea is to teach and to communicate and to show that mining is a pole for generation of jobs and businesses where a mine can live jointly to a series of other projects. Within the numbers and the impact the project will have, we will have a peak of 2,000 direct jobs and many more indirect jobs, and 400 direct jobs and 1,500 indirect jobs during the operation. And in the same line as the policy of the company, we are doing training in the zone. There is no mining experience in that place, and the Uspallata locality will become a pole for training of the labor, and with a positive impact in the community. We will mitigate all negative impacts that could be produced during construction, building the camp in the same place of the project. Socio-economical impacts will exist close to will be positive. We are training the community, we are teaching the community. If you were here yesterday, you saw a presence of people from Uspallata, 130 people. As an anecdote, I tell you that the idea was, last year we brought 50 to a mining event in San Juan. They had a very positive impression. We invite them to know the mining world. And as yesterday, for the first opportunity, we brought 50, 80, 100, 130. We had to put a limit because all of them wanted to come. They are eager to know. And, then we have to thank the mining community, because you show how mining is, what mining does. Those incentives are what people have seen, how to develop the suppliers, how does the community grow. And it's very interesting to learn from the projects in other places of the country. Also, the project of electric energy for Uspallata. Uspallata has 3 megas of electricity and is saturated, and new inhabitants just take out the energy that already exists. So a high percentage of the permanent jobs we want to offer, mainly during the 16 years of life of the mine. That is for people that at present live in Uspallata. So the economic matrix of the community will convert, and people will have a better standard of living, better quality of life, and the new niches of economic market probably will be in sector of services. The impact that we could produce in the road will be mitigated with management controls that are included in the project. Now, talking about the investment, And to take the same line of Malarue, colleague, during the construction of the project, in those 24 months of construction, we will spread $83 million in Mendoza, and in the rest of Argentina also $30 million. And during the operation in Mendoza, $48 million will be distributed in 1 year, and $12 million for the remaining territory of Argentina. And we saw the statistics of the oil, and I was very happy because mining apparently is much more generous than oil with the municipalities and with local communities. These are basic data that we estimated for the project. Important is that the cash flow of the project is $855 million, and 57% of that is distributed or is collected by the state in 3 taxes: the royalty, the income taxes, and the retention of exports, with the holding of for exports, and also the taxes paid by third parties, taxes that do not exist at this moment, and the arrival of San Jorge will generate it. $56 million, approximately $50 million per year, that the state, the government will collect in different entities. The percentage for the nation was 88%. 57%, we're talking about 57%, and that includes the royalty. And finally, the gross geographic product. Mendoza is very diverse and very complex. Las Heras is not a mining district, but does not have a big impact in the present economy either. The importance of this data is that our numbers, our studies indicate that the increase of a gross product of Mendoza, the GDP of Mendoza, the increase of the GDP of Mendoza with an estimated price of $1.6 per pound of copper, and we know it's close to 3 now, well, the impact is going to be 16 times bigger. And the municipality of Las Heras will be 30 times more. So this is what a medium-scale mining project can produce in local economy. The economic spread is reflected better in these numbers and not in the numbers of presentation of number of royalty or the extra royalty that could be produced. So thank you very much, and I'm open for the remaining of the questions after the presentation.